Hello there! Do you have an ancient historian or someone who loves ancient history in your family? Are you that person, or are you buying for that person? If you're either of these, then this vlog may be of interest to you. I'm just going to run through a short selection of books that I've been bought or bought myself over the past year, all to do with ancient history, and a selection of the ones I think are worth buying for Christmas. Some of them are quite old, other ones are quite new. Hopefully some of them will be of some interest, so let's get to it. I'm going to do these alphabetically, so there's no chance of me being biased in any way or being accused of bias. No, I don't think that's likely to happen. So first up, Lindsay Davis, the Falco series. I think it was Davis who first got me into historical fiction. Her series of novels follows Falco, who is an informant in the 1st century AD around the time of Vespasian. So he's essentially a detective sent on various adventures around the Roman Empire. The Roman society he's based in and the aspects of it are featured heavily, so this isn't just a detective novel that happens to be in ancient Rome, it's fundamentally an ancient Roman detective story, or series of. So it's really, really good. The characters are great, you get to learn more of them as the series progresses. You can start with the Silver Pigs, which I think is the first one. However, these are not exclusive, you can drop into any of the series of books and you'll be okay, there won't be any issue there. So, very good gift, safe gift, you don't need any expertise, you learn a lot, and above all, fun reading. Anneliese Friesenbock, The First Ladies of Rome. I often read books in tandem, so alongside a large slab of something like Livy, these sorts of books are brilliant. Friesenbock picks out a number of female characters from the Roman Empire, goes to town them. You find out all the intrigues behind them, how they weren't exactly, well, shall we say, wallflowers, and how they were very, very much involved in the political scene. Very, very good, very interesting. Also something a bit different, because a lot of ancient history tends to be very male-centric. This, on the other hand, gives you a very, very different viewpoint. So you can dip in and out of it, because it's not a long narrative book, it's a series of episodes. Well worth it. Adrian Goldsworthy, The Fall of Carthage. Goldsworthy is the go-to man when it comes to the Roman Empire in terms of a military context. He writes some really, really good books. This is one of them. It follows and outlines a lot of the Carthaginian conflicts and ultimately demise and fall of Carthage. It's brutal at points, very, very detailed, so you really need to get stuck into this book, but it's very rewarding when you do. If you know someone in your family who's into Roman military and likes that kind of thing, this is perfect for them. This is the nail on the head type present. John R. Hale, Lords of the Sea. Probably one of my favourite and most rewarding books of the year. John Hale knows rowing, he knows trireme battles, but he doesn't just leave it there, he knits it very well into the actual political fabric of the 5th century. You learn a lot about just how much having rowers and having trireme battles dictate how the wars would proceed. Really made a distinct difference, and even added in some ways to the democratic revolutions in Athens and elsewhere. You'll get a lot out of this book if you put just a bit of time into it, but you don't need to be too much of an expert. I wasn't, and still am not by any means. So, definite one, this one. Robert Harris, Lustrum or Imperium. So, these books can be read independently, but they do follow on from each other. They deal with, and they are historical fiction about Cicero and that political bear pit that was the middle of the 1st century BC. Plenty there for him to work with, but he doesn't let the characters overawe you too much. Reins them in, and it's really, really worth a read. Definitely good fun. Tom Holland, Rubicon or Persian Fire. Well balanced, effortless, technically brilliant. It could be one of Tom Holland's famous cover drives. Either of these books, and they represent two very different periods of time, really, really interesting. I knew more about Roman Empire, less so about the Persian Empire, but even so, you pick up a lot. If you think you know a fair bit, you'll learn something. And those coming towards it with very little knowledge will learn a great deal and enjoy it too. I tried it out on a couple of friends, lent both of these to people that knew nothing about the period of time, and they really enjoyed it, and they came back at me and said that they learnt a lot and it wasn't too overwhelming. I suggest these two are staples of any bookshelf. Bettany Hughes, The Hemlock Cup or Helen of Troy, or both. Hughes is a seasoned academic, and it can be a challenge for someone who knows so much to communicate it really, really well with those who, like me, don't know a great deal. But she does it with zeal and some aplomb. The two books are very different and cover very different areas, obviously. Hemlock Cup was my preference. That deals with Socrates, political landscape around him, his society, and how he was received in it, and that's really, really interesting. I learned a lot out of this book. Helen of Troy, as you can imagine, it focuses more on the Helen of Troy myth, but about women as well in the ancient world. So that point of view, it would be very, very good if you've got someone who's studying gender studies in the ancient world or something like that. A lot of background information here, it's very interesting. Starts with Spartans, moves eastwards, goes all over the Mediterranean. Worth read. I would prefer this one. This one's very good too though. Ben Kane, any of them really, they're all great. Ben Kane has written some really, really good books. I've read this one, I've also read Hannibal, Enemy of Rome. Both are brilliant. Both deal obviously with very, very different characters and very different settings. I'm a bit jealous of Ben because he can write like this and he also gets to march around in kit. I've spoken to people who read other books by him and I've had some strong recommends there too. So really, just pick any of his, get stuck into them, well worth it. Adrian Mayer, The Poison King. Lots of books on Greece and Rome can often focus on the same characters and pretty much the same subject, just variations thereof. So it's nice to read something a bit more around the subject. Mithridates was an early opponent of Rome. He's very interesting, bit of a boy's own character, and there's some fantastic stories in here. Mayer writes very well. She seems to know her subject very well. So, as you can see, it's won an award, or been a finalist. I'd certainly recommend this. It gives you a bit more reading around the subject. So hopefully that's given you a few ideas of what to buy this Christmas. Should ask you, if you get the chance, use your local bookshop. I know it's easy to go online, flick of a switch and the rest of it, but it would be really, really good if you could get to see some of these from your local bookshop, because they're in hard times these days, and it's quite nice to go in and pick something up as opposed to wait for it to come in the post. I thought of asking a few people on Twitter to see if they had any recommendations, and a few of them came back to me. I will try to put these up on captions. However, I'm more Cato than able, unfortunately, when it comes to this sort of thing. So fingers crossed. If it doesn't appear, I'm going to read out some names. I'm reading from a list, so I do apologise for not looking directly at the camera, but you know, give me a break. So, firstly, I had Amanda Scott's Boudica series, and that was suggested by Jill, who's at Ferry Baslet. Amanda Scott herself then responded, which is very nice of her. She's at Hare-Wood with Hannibal, Clouds of War by Ben Kane. And if it's a Ben Kane book, it's probably pretty good. Ben Kane then tweeted, this became a bit weird. Ben Kane then tweeted, and he suggested the Tyrant series by Christian Cameron. I had a look at that, and it looks really good. I might have to adjust my list and include a few of his books in there. Carly, at Carly A. Silva, recommended Lily of the Nile by Stephanie Dray. That seems to be about an Egyptian girl who grows up in Rome. I think she's daughter of Cleopatra or some such. Again, very interesting collision there. Nick Brown, at Random Rome, suggested The Blood of the Gods by Con Igulden, who is a famous author. I apologise, I'm so bad with names. Kimberly Carsboom, which is at Kimbo Cars, suggested Rubicon by Tom Holland, which we've already done, so, mate, you know, there's two of us. Anyway, I hope you do well in your shopping. I hope you get what you want for Christmas. I hope you buy what you want for Christmas. Again, remember your local bookshops if you can. And thank you very much, and I suppose have a great Christmas. Happy reading.